Family, welcome to the psychological detriment of humanizing our enemies, class, and conversation. I'm joined by none other than the National Minister of Defense of the Black Riders Liberation Party under our five-star General Taco Wolverine Shakur, and the National Deputy Field Marshal of the New Black Panther Party for Self-Defense under the leadership and auspice of our modern-day and General Mr. Muhammad. I'm speaking none other than my atomic gay like Minister King Samir. So we collaborated together to give us an opportunity to build with our family today. We were together to see the prophet, one of the few places where we were invited to speak together, which is very, very rare. So definitely glad to be here on today with my brother. Time to give us a proper look, a proper insight into the psychology of survival, to the emotional, to he has comprised Black Survival or Die Inc. And 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Do Knowledge. So I'm going to deal with the detriment of humanizing our enemies, and then we're going to go back and forth in regards to urban survival and some other topics that are there. The main foundation of today will be the psychological detriment of humanizing our enemies, and also the resurgence of Asafo warriorhood within our brothers, our sisters, and our youth. So I'm going to turn the floor over to my warrior educator, my solid dad brother, opening remarks. Samir Shabazz. Black Power.
Black power, black power, be holy, salute, African liberation, protect is to the African warrior. And another, as always, back with another round of to help teach us to survive. You know, this is solid. I love that. So, open up, let's just deal with the topic itself, the psychological detriment. Psychological detriment. Humanizing, humanizing, We're going to get of humanizing our enemy. That's hard. And that's that I know a lot of y'all scared of. Because some feelings are going to be hurt. We're going to have to talk about things that you scared to talk about. Because when we're talking about humanizing, this is detriment. So we look dealing with humans. We're not dealing with beings. We're dealing straight with savages and beasts. We're dealing with animals. Wild, domesticated animals. Picture that one, right? So we got to get into the detriment of the mind. Psychologically, a lot of us are just goddamn weird. I'm talking about few years ago, council. You missed the ball. You dropped the ball once again. And right now in the city of Philadelphia, the National Guard is to you. And don't get me wrong, the looting is necessary at its proper time. And then y'all just take dumb stuff. 35, 60-inch TVs and, like, huh? So we got to dig very deep into the detriment, the psychological detriment of humanizing our enemies because you love them so much. You love them so much. So we're going to get into some degrees of some menticide and some destruction of your europhilia, if you will. So I'm going to step back and let the God drop his jewels, and I'll be black with you. That is my opening. Black power.
All right, Black Power. I'm going to begin with reading from Asafo, the calendar of revolutionary daily thoughts from Asafo, warrior elder, Baba Dr. Nwale Kebamadi Baruti, November the 1st. The problem with the man is that he always gets half the story, then bungles it. Dates right back to the Greeks. Let's get into Baba's explanation. Europeans are the world's greatest imitators, as evidenced throughout history. Once they feel they have destroyed a people and cannot be stopped from debasing them and taking from them whatever they want, and claiming it as theirs, they usurp their victims' external characteristics, at least those which do not interfere with their celic imperatives. In doing so, in their twisted fantasies, they believe they become, or rather possess, those they imitate. However, because they are who they are, arrogant children without a basic experience of fundamental spiritual, emotional development and content of those they seek to ingest and assimilate, they fail to realize that they only become who they mimic at a very, very superficial level. The very heart and soul is missing from their theft. A perfect example of this is found amongst those of them who imitate the drumming, dancing, attire, hairstyles, and especially spiritual systems, rituals of traditional Africans. Inwardly, Europeans can be nothing other than what they are. For that matter, no one can become what they are not, no matter how convincing the imitation. So the affirmation states, I am what I am to the core. And I love this affirmation, and I love this because this is perfect into deeping a deep dive into the psychological detriment of humanizing your enemy. The first thing that you must understand is that your enemy is not human. That is the first thing that must be established. That is the foundation of this course of study that we're dealing with in the mind, in the heart, in the spirit, in the soul, in the psychological fundamental flaw that we make about humanizing Europeans and anything else on this fucking planet that is not us. And the fundamental understanding that they understand is the more that they imitate that which is original, the more in tune they become with the characteristics, traits, and behaviors of that which they could never be. Dr. Franz Fanon, he came with the book, and he said in the book, the ultimate goal for the European is to become a man. And he said in the same book, the ultimate goal for the black man is to become a white man. So henceforth, looking at this psychological detriment from its foundational flaw, the first mistake that we often make after not realizing that we're in war, that we have enemies, and that our enemies do not see us as human. They created courses of study and mandatory attendance for us to be trained in the psychological warfare against ourselves, in the strategic, mental, emotional, and psychological, which on the other side of the equation equals to the physical destruction of self. And the invitation for intercession via those avenues of our enemies to live in our mind, our warring being with one another. So we esteem this thing as the chief good. Well, let's examine characteristics and traits associated with this thing. We would begin to say we don't want any thieves around us, any liars around us, no rapists, no pedophiles. We would say that with declarative strength. We would make that statement. We would make that knowledge born. For you to exist in circumference with us, you can't be any of those things. Most of us, with our lying ass mouth, will say it. But we allow this in our circumference. We allow this within our ciphers. We allow this within our homes. We allow this on every single aspect and core of our being. This is how we are attuned in our mind. This is how we are trained and indoctrinated to accept this behavior. And those warrior children, our ancestors return, as we say all the fucking time. Our ancestors return. Our warrior children tell us who's amongst us, and we tell them to ignore their natural instinct to recognize enemy. Our children don't need no fucking training about who's the enemies amongst us. We need the retraining of our mind and our being, because instinctually we no longer recognize enemy. So this fundamental flaw, this knowledge degree of dealing with enemy, being able to identify the characteristic traits and behaviors of our enemies with an S, internal and external. Our internal enemies exhibit the characteristics and traits of our external enemy. This is the mind mapping process that takes place within the psychology and manifests outwardly. This is the determined idea. God, when the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us about Yaqub, when he taught us the science of Yaqub, we thought we got some fucking story.
Mm-hmm.
We thought we got some story, some feel-good story. We got the science of grafting. The science of physical grafting,
Absolutely.
the science of emotional grafting, the science of spiritual grafting. And then we say carbon copy. We say shit like artificial intelligence. We can ascribe it to some things we think are inanimate. When you don't know something, you fucking Google. Where does that come from? So our attention span in regards to self is very limited. This science of Yaqub is showing this grafting process of how you take something from its original state and condition and being optimally and make devil in the process. Made devil. Made devil. So from this space of made devil in this grafting process that took 6,000 years, we begin to see us in our worst state and condition. We get to see what's truly in us in this state. And this thing didn't come from us. This thing was made to rule over us. This is not a thing that exists. Devils cannot come among God. So the process of this science is not just the destruction of the original family. It is the intense observation of the original family and looking for a way in. So your enemy studies you. Your enemy studies your behavior. Your enemy is in constant observation of you 24/7, 365. Your enemy tells you what to like, what to dislike, what to be enraged about, what to be excited about. All of these aspects, your enemy is designing these things based off of your desire. Your enemy even tells you what to desire. Not who to desire, because if you ain't with a black woman or a black man, you're with an it. You're with an it. And you're the it, and that it that has to go. This is what we're supposed to be teaching our children. We get into those degrees. We are supposed to teach our children or remind our children or do the knowledge to our children when they see our enemies, whomever they are able to identify them. We're too busy snotting and boogering and apologizing for our children's behavior. They looking for confirmation most of the time, not information. If you got some people around them, if you want to know they ain't shit, take them around your children. Take them around your elders. They'll tell you that they ain't shit. Somehow we lost that identifying power along the way, around here snaking and faking our way through this existence. The chief thing in this essence is to have that perceptual, distinctive quality to establish enemy from friend. I spent 17 years in the devil military, 5 years in war, 4 trips to Iraq, 1 to Afghanistan. And before you go into that place, they train you who your enemies are. Your enemy shows you how to make an enemy out of your enemy. They train you. They teach you. They torture you. They train you. They teach you. They torture you. You are not allowed to serve your enemy and love yourself at the same time. That training that everybody loves. They say, oh, send your children into the military. You might as well put a fucking bullet in their goddamn brain if you don't prepare them. If you prepare, teach, and train your children on who their enemies are, train them up in the way that they're supposed to go, as the scriptures say, and then you send them to your enemy's military, you have just killed them. They will never come back to you. It's rare occasions where you go get all of that psychological training that is anti-you and your children come back to you. They'll come back to you and put a bullet in your fucking head. Guaranteed. So whether it's the military, whether it's the police force, whether it's any kind of those supposed to be civil servant, situations, they are trained. And they cannot pass this initiation process without killing anything that exists within them that is unlike the space that they're in. They get all of these enemies together from all over the world. They actively recruit them and put them in an environment of total control. You the parents of these children and send them away for military training because you say they need discipline. Who the fuck are you? They need an example. Who the fuck are you? They need a role model. Who the fuck are you? This is the mind frame that operates where you can be taken, where you can be exploited, where you can be destroyed. You do not see yourself as who you truly are. So henceforth, if you can't identify you damn sure won't be able to identify your enemy. Bible said Europeans are the world's greatest imitators. So the psychological detriment comes in where in your spirit space, in your mind space, in your mind's eye, where you first see, in that same place where you understand. This is why they call it the third eye. This is where understanding is understood. And if you don't have access in that mind space, in that brain space, if you don't have access in that space, if you misunderstand, then nothing will be made clear to you. Nothing. So, dealing with this fundamental space, knowledge is the foundation of all things in existence. Knowing who your enemy is, knowing how your enemy trains you every single day to kill yourself, to commit suicide daily, to be in obedience with their goals, aims, objectives, ideologies, actions, attitudes, and behaviors and mentality daily. Savage is a person who has lost the knowledge of himself and is living a beast life or beast way of life, depending on where you got the degree from. Understand that. Savage is a person. This is a person, not in the noun sense, the person, place, or thing. A person who once had something and now lost it. And as a result of losing it, these are their actions, attitudes, and their behavior. Living the way of life of a beast. So all it took for us is to lose this knowledge itself. The difference between 6 and 7. The difference between the devil and God is knowledge. You see how this mathematics makes sense? Like it ain't some shit that came out of nowhere. It was a prescription. It was a prescription for a psychology of people who had lost the knowledge of ourselves and are living a beast life as a result. This prescription by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, this prescription that was given, that was administered to us, that we fought tooth and nail, and you still finding Negroes to this day fighting tooth and nail against this sacred science, yet no matter where they go, they find it. No matter where they go, they find it. No matter what spiritual path or whatever the hell it is, if it's supposed to be righteous, you will find this. You will find out who you are and who your enemies are. So fundamental flaw or fundamental edge in the extermination of your enemies is to be able to recognize who and what your enemies are, how your enemies see you, and how you see them. This whole process of grafting on the island of Patmos was this process of taking from the original and regrafting in that space where the original mind was to the amalgamation of what the mind now is or what the mind now has become. The death of the original mind and the resurrection of this artificial intelligence, this grafted thing who was made to destroy and kill us. So in this training, they call it counterinsurgency training. They teach you the environment in which your enemy comes up in. It teaches you your enemy's value system, what they value, what they covet, their psychology, all the way down to their fucking reading level. Teaches you about your enemy's customs and courtesies and how to engage them and how not to engage them. All of this in your mind. So you see your enemy as different than yourself. So we're existing in a society set up by our enemies. And somehow in that process, we see our enemies as other than our enemies. This social integration, this social grafting process of the mind of the original man, woman, and child through interaction, through what we perceive as favor, through what we perceive as privilege, through what we see as necessity, what we see as right. It would not work any place else in the world. And anybody who has soldiered in any capacity, they will see across the world. Our children ain't like no other children on the planet. The thing that unifies a people is warfare. You can be the Christian, the Muslim, the Buddhist, the who fuck ever. That looks like it's separate. When someone comes to attack you, all of a sudden, that inclination towards self-preservation is a grand unifier. It don't matter who the fuck it is. If me and King Samir could have just been beefing 2 seconds ago, an enemy or enemies approach us, we back to back. Straight like that. 100%. We just had a problem 2 seconds ago. The problem that we had 2 seconds ago is overshadowed by the problem that's in front of us. And we back to back ready for fucking war. He know I ain't finna run on him. And I know he ain't finna run on me. And it's hell for whoever the fuck in front of us. So this psychology is something that is there. That is a natural inclination, yet it's not properly trained. God, we tell our children shit like, don't fight. And wonder why they don't fight. We punish our children for fighting. We ain't in our own schools. Somebody approach you, you're going to handle your business, but you're going to tell your children not to approach them. You're going to tell them a police officer approach you, you ain't supposed to be ready to fight. You ain't supposed to be ready to defend your life. You just prepared yourself for a motherfucking funeral. we are not engaging our enemies in the manner in which they need to be engaged. We want to do every fucking thing else other than fight our enemy. They want to intellectualize their way. They want to get the economics and the finances. They want to align their chakras and all this other shit. All that shit is necessary for who it's necessary for. But when it's time to engage the enemy, none of that shit will help you. The only thing that will help you in that space is that you are properly trained to take that motherfucker out. You are properly trained to take that motherfucker out. Whatever you have at your disposal. And if you have nothing, bare fist. Bare fist. Your enemy, when confronted by you, will spare no expense on your fucking ass. 100%. Been there, done that. Whether you only have hands and feet, I'm here in front of you with hands and fucking feet. So this detriment in regards to this psychology, the fundamental and foundational flaw that we have to overcome is recognizing our enemy and understanding what must be done with our enemy. This social integration has flipped up our psychology. We forgot our duties and responsibilities to our people, to our ancestors, to our elders, to our peer group, to our youth, and for those yet to come. Our interdependency upon our enemy for food, clothing, and shelter, and whatever the fuck else has blinded us, has tricked us. This technology of our enemy that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us about, that we think we're too good for now. We got everything else. We got everything else. But we can't recognize no enemy. You're sitting around with people, with things that feed on you and feed off of you. And can't recognize that you're being fed on. Can't recognize that you're being siphoned off of. So our dependency upon our enemy has made us enemies to one another. Our inability to recognize our enemy and the disposition that enemy should be in, that state of being in our presence that our enemy should be in when around us. Since we no longer have that primary inclination, situation has to dictate. You want to look at them as human. That is the detriment. Because you will not kill what looks like a child, what looks like a woman, what looks like a man, even if they're killing you with that mentality. in Afghanistan, in Iraq. What looks like a child will blow your fucking brains out. What looks like a woman will strap a bomb to her chest and blow you all to fucking hell. What looks like a woman, what looks like a child, what looks like a man will take 25 cents worth of explosives and put it in this and blow you to hell with no fret about it. Will videotape it and show it to their friends and family.
And have dinner over.
If they got wind that one of their friends or their family is working with you, they will kill them. They will kill them. They will kill who they call brother, who they call sister, who they call mother, who they call father, who they call whatever.
That's right.
So our enemies, in other efforts to dehumanize us, gave us a word to describe us as one and the same. Nigger. Criminal. Suspect. Black identity extremists. Any of those words are used to identify characteristics, traits, and behaviors that are punishable by death. And our deaths are rewarded and celebrated. So we take these words as terms of endearment. Thug, criminal. We say thug life.
Gangster.
We say gangster. We take all of these things, and all of these things lead to public executions. We personify them. I hear fancy explanations for nigger. I hear fancy explanations for bitch now. Bitch is a female dog. That's not a human. If your bitch is out of line, you beat your bitch's ass back in line. That's a female dog. Did you go and try to reason with the bitch? And if the bitch tries to attack you, what happens to the bitch? You kill it. So if this is the mentality that you have about your women, they're lower than them female dogs. And you love a bitch because you go and lay with one. You
Love
go
that
mate
bitch.
with the bitch. You go mate with the bitch.
Die for that bitch.
Die for that bitch. Kill for that bitch. You fight your family for
that bitch. Miss
And
Maggie
in that same
bitch.
mind frame that you have in regards to that bitch will kill you in a heartbeat.
That's right.
Physically, emotionally, psychologically, kill you. So them economics and them finances that you thought you got, you went and got that money, and you got the fucking Bitcoin or whatever the hell you got, the farm and the acreage and everything that you got, that bitch to take it in the heartbeat. You dead. You dead.
All she got to say is the word nigga.
That's it.
A nigga did it.
You physically dead. You mentally dead. You emotionally dead. You psychologically dead. And in the first place, if you're over there with that bitch, but what do you expect to happen? So the bag chasers that are out there talking about, the cure for us is to get the bag. They give you the bag and take that bag back from you. Because we think, oh, okay, it's just a wealth gap. Your enemies did not kidnap our ancestors and bring them the fuck here to be equal. They didn't bring you here to be human. They justified bringing you here because you wasn't human. They justified bringing you here, raping, robbing, selling, and killing you because you were not human. They didn't bring you here to vote. They bring you here to build your own schools. They didn't bring you here to build your own schools. They brought you here to be subservient to them. They brought you here to be property. They make no qualms about you being their property. The only time we are equal and have ever been equal is in battle. The only time you ever seen fear from your enemy is right before your enemy checks out and they go wherever the fuck they go when they leave this fucking place. So if you're looking for an equalizer, that is the equalizer. The acquisition of your enemy and the elimination of your enemy. And that's where we come from. That's who we are. That's the only story you need to be telling your children and them telling their children, that you come from people that killed their enemies wherever they found them. No other cosmology necessary. So that's my first degree, guys. I'm gonna deal with some other degrees after you add on.
All right, all right, all right. Black power, black power. And I must say, very heavy degree. Very heavy degree. And it kind of ties right in to the great words of the Black Dragon himself. See, he says, George says this on one hand. He says we must accept the eventuality of bringing America to its knees. Accepting the closing off of critical sections of the city with barbed wire, armored pig carriers crisscrossing the city streets, soldiers everywhere, Tommy guns and AR-15s pointed at your head, smoke curling black against the daylight sky, the smell of cordite, house-to-house searches, doors being kicked down, and the commonness of death. The commonness of death. That means it's an everyday thing. It's happening so regularly. Okay, another crocodile today. Great. Let's keep it moving. See, you're so used to crying and showing so much emotion for your enemy. When you see a little cracker baby, the first thing come out your lips is, "Oh, that baby's so cute." Well, motherfucker, Trump was a baby. He was a little ugly bastard, but Trump was a baby. Pence was a baby. Biden was a baby. Harris was a bedwenching baby. Even then, your enemies were babies. Hitler was a baby. Jeffrey Dahmer was a baby. Was he not? Capone was a baby. Huh? And they grew up to be great monsters. Great savages in American history that you revel over, that you marvel over. It sickens the hell out of me to hear a revolutionary talk about how great Marxist and Lenin is and Trotsky was. Let me tell you something. Fuck each and every one of them bastards. They were thieves, man. The white man is a thief by nature. I don't care how pontificated his science is, he's a thief. You got a long lineage of African warriors. You got a long lineage of revolutionaries, and you mean to tell me Marxists and Trotsky and Lenin become your idols? You niggas are crazy. But again, that is the processing of humanizing your enemy. You give praises to them. You give honor to them. You revere them. You adore them. You fucking love them. You will fucking die for them. And they hate your nigger guts. George said we must accept the eventuality of bringing the United States to its knees. You have to start accepting that concept in your head. Reprogramming with that concept in your head, bringing America, not just America, fool, the entire white race to its fucking knees. You got to accept the fact that death will be common. Huh? He said, then we must learn the forms of resistance, the booby trap, the silenced pistols, the rifles, the pitting of streets to slow them down, and the wrecking of heavy equipment to block their efficient movements, false walls, hidden sub-basements, tunnels, Vietnamese style. If you watch a movie called Tunnel Rats, it talked about, it is basically a movie about how the United States was getting their asses slaughtered underground. The Vietnamese Revolutionary Army built rat tunnels in the ground and a cracker will fall in and be trapped. And next thing you know, he has no bottom half of his body anymore. Huh? His legs have been cut the fuck off from under him, his whole entire waist sliced in half, man. Tunnel rats. The Vietnamese whooped America's ass. But again, your programming has told you, your enemy has told you that they are the most victorious army in the world. Goddamn lie. The Vietnamese whooped the hell out of America. The Afghani soldiers, and knowledgebornallah is going to bear me witness. And I'm going to close my eyes to show you we ain't got no kind of signals and shit. The Afghani soldiers whipped America's ass. Am I lying now?
Hell no.
The Iraqi soldiers whipped America's ass. Am I lying now?
Hell no.
But you've been so programmed to believe that America is the greatest superpower in the world. But George just told us we have to conceptualize, internalize, embrace, and defend the concept of bringing America to its goddamn knees at all costs. Right? Now he says we got to bring down the facilities that support establishment order. Uh-oh. Support establishment order means those that follow the rules of the United States of America. Those who openly support Trump, openly support Biden, openly support the prison system, openly support the killing of Africans in the streets of America. But you openly support these niggas and crackers and Arabs and chinks. Guess what? In the state of revolution, all them motherfuckers got to go. If they ain't black, get the fuck back. And we gonna put you back. And even some of you blacks robbing the community. Selling dope out your stores. Huh? Selling stems and shit out your stores. Come on now. I live in the hood. I live in the hood. And one of the absolute worst hoods in Philadelphia. It's my stomping ground. So I know what goes on in my hood. I know who my enemies are. I know how many police forces I'm surrounded by and subdivision forces I'm surrounded by. These are the type of things that you need to know, soldier. In your hood. How many traffic lights are in your hood? Huh? How many satellites are in your hood? Do you know this? How many sewage systems are in your hood? How many underground railways that you don't know about are in your hood? Come on, soldier, talk black to me. You should know everything about your community. You should know everything about your battlefield. It's your field. This is how you win against your enemy. But you've been so programmed to be so dependent. Only thing you know about a fucking traffic light is stop, wait, and go. The only thing you know about a damn sewer is throwing something in it. The only thing you know about the police force is being in jail. Where are the underground libraries in your hood? Do you know about the vaults under City Hall in your hood? Do you know about the emergency shelter systems under the train stations in your hoods? No? Then I'm trying to figure out, what kind of soldier are you? You're a dependent soldier, dependent on your enemy to feed, clothe, educate you, and pat you on your little head and give you a good reward and just say, good nigga. George said, we simply stop allowing ourselves to be hunted and do some stalking of our own. Their secret police aren't really too secret at all, because right now we can go numbering, naming, and compiling information on each and every pig in your community. They're too visible to be safe. So revolution, family, is aggressive. I don't know which one of these punk pussy niggas told you that the revolution is passive, that the revolution, all we need is some better education. All the white man got to do is give us some more expensive books. I don't know which one of these niggas told you that all you need is some more a little job from your enemy, and the revolution will be a little bit better. I don't know which one of these punk pussy niggas told you that you ain't got to kill nobody for revolution. All you got to do is just shake hands and eat a ham sandwich and drink a fucking Heineken with your enemy, and everything will be all right. They'll be your friend again. I'm sorry to bust your coon ass bubble, but revolution is bloody. Revolution ain't pretty at all. People get fucked up in revolution. People lose their heads. They get their goddamn hearts blown out. Their guts is hanging wrapped around their goddamn neck somewhere. Leg across the street some damn where. Arm up on somebody else's roof. You might find a motherfucker floating in your backyard, man. You seen The Godfather? The cracker woke up with a fucking horse in his bed. Ain't nothing pretty about no war. Your enemy is a complete savage. And if you want to be liberated, you got to be just as savage when dealing with this motherfucker. You can't care about his damn children. Fuck his kids. You can't care about his damn goldfish. Fuck his goldfish. You can't care about his little poochie. The schnauzer, you got to kill that motherfucker too. You got to kill the white man's turtle. You got to kill everything in the cracker's house to let him know you just as merciless as he is. You know why? Because he gonna come and kill everything in your goddamn house. Everything. If it breathes, it dies. That's how your enemy thinks. If it breathes, it dies. Nigga, you breathe, you die. So no wonder they forcing us or killing us to the point where we have to say, I can't breathe. The white man don't even want you breathing, nigga. Huh? This is why after a while they're gonna be charging you for air. They already charge you for air conditioning. The white man gonna charge you just for breathing. He's already charging you just for being black. And your penalty is death for being black. That penalty is death. If you haven't fucking recognized it by now. George says revolution is aggressive. He says in the morning, the fight will have begun. In the morning, the fight will have begun. Armed struggle is the very heart of revolution. Armed struggle is the very heart of revolution. There is no revolution without no armed struggle. You can march and demonstrate and protest all the fuck you want. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, that is a form of a revolutionary tactic only if victorious in its outcome. Nowadays, you niggas just get out there just to be seen. Or just to go see somebody else. Because you ain't coming out there armed. You coming out there with a fucking cell phone. A video camera. Don't get me wrong. That propaganda is a form but it's useless if it's not helping us to get free. And again, most of you niggas just want to be seen. A little 3 minutes of fame, a little 5 minutes of boogie. George says, but the guerrillas need help. Prestige stands between the masses and a revolt against their class enemy. The aura of magic, glamour, luster, and splendid performance covers the facets like a protective layer of fact. And that's what you're enveloped in. The glitter, the glamour, the magic, the hoopla, the abra-fucking-cadabra, the shazam, the poof. Here it is. And this is why the cracker gives you more and more and more. So when you hear the name of Garvey, you cringe your face. When you hear the name of King Samir Shabazz, you cringe your fucking face. When you hear Do the Knowledge Radio, you start breathing a little funny. That's because of your urophilic program. Because you still believe deep down in your nigga heart, white is right. No matter how much red, black, and green your ass is wearing, no matter how much fucking many dashikis you wearing on National Dashiki Day, whatever the fuck that bullshit is, none of that shit matters. You niggas are scared of the white man. Scared. Because revolution is aggressive. Now, I put up a post yesterday. I'm seeing too much stagnation. What the fuck does that mean, King Samir? That means I'm seeing too many revolutionaries do not a fucking thing. But march up and down somebody else's goddamn street with a gun in their hand. That's what revolution means to you niggas? That's all it means to you, huh? Looking for 5 minutes of boogie. But hey, who am I? The slimy scales of majesty shield and conceal this dilapidation. Although in reality, nothing remains but the illusion. They can still organize violence, but the Indo-Chinese have proved that to be not too formidable. The Chinese formed the United Front. And it became the People's Republic of what? China. Was Mao Zedong successful? You fucking right he was. Was any of these new booty niggas y'all following today successful in leading us to a war? Were we victorious in that war? Oh, wait a minute. Let's back up. What fucking war? All of you generals. I'm General such and such. I'm General Dickhead. I'm General Pigfoot. I'm General Stinkfeet. Where's the war? What war have you been in? Who qualified you to do what? To even say the word general out of your mouth is disrespectful as hell. You're a general of nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. With your one follower. So please tell me, what war have you fought? When was the last time you had an assassination attempt on your coward ass life? Our present task is to illustrate this point forcefully to the people. Let's stop right there. Present task. Right here at 4:45 Eastern Time. With an hour, 12 minutes, 13, 14, 15, 16 seconds into the show. Our present task, comrades, is to illustrate this point forcefully. Fucking weak ass coward, you have to be forcefully taught and trained how to be liberated. You have to be forcefully taught to accept your own and be yourself. This knowledge has to now be forced on you. You don't find something wrong with that? That's a nation of sick people. If the cure to your sickness has to be forced on you to be cured from your sickness, you a sick motherfucker, man. Massa, we truly fucking sick. But you did a good job, white man. Let's give the white man a hand for being such a great devil. Or how about, let's give the white man a couple fucking bullets for being such a great devil. I don't care about their kids. I don't care about white life. There's no remorse in King Samir Shabazz for white. Damn it, I don't even wear white fucking socks. I understand who my enemy is. I understand my enemy has to be brought to its knees. Not just his knees, my enemies have to be brought to their heads. Fuck they knees. Because a motherfucker with knees could still oppress you. I want their heads. I want their spinal system. See, what y'all didn't realize is while I was going to massage therapy school, I was learning to put brutal pain on my enemy from the inside of his own body. I was learning which bone I could break or just simply remove with a touch, what joints I could put pressure on, and my enemy would never be able to walk again. See, y'all stupid as hell. You don't know nothing about no warfare. Went into my enemy's circumference to learn the anatomy of the body even deeper, to crush the hell out of my enemies. Well, damn, Mr. Shabazz, why is it every one of your customers end up never being able, they end up in a wheelchair for the rest of their life? All of your clients, what's going on? Hey, I don't know. It's the hand of God cracking them crackers back. See, you got to learn your enemy to his totality. I found a book on Joe Biden in the trash. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You got to study your enemy, fool. How you a soldier and don't know nothing about who you going to war with? You got to know what kind of music they love. You got to know what kind of women they like, what kind of hoes they like to pay money for. You got to know what kind of drugs they like to take, what kind of aspirin they use, what they like to drink, what they like to eat, what's their favorite food, what's their favorite restaurant, where they get their gas from, what movie theater they go to, what their wife like to wear, what kind of shoes she like, what kind of jewelry she like. You niggas just dumb. You ain't no fucking general. You're a general of patheticness. A general of coward 19. Heru Kahudi, long live his name, before he died, had a cracker kiss his fucking boots. Made the cracker bow the fuck down. That's a revolutionary act. So that cracker became our prisoner of war. Fuck you talking about? You niggas taking crackers home, feeding them and shit, petting them, domesticating them, and then marrying the motherfucking dog. And the motherfucker ain't even worth being called a dog. She's a bitch. I'll give a dog more respect than I fucking give white bitches. Hell you talking about? George says, the fascist industrial state can organize a ponderous, mechanized violence, but this systematic industry-based holding action is helpless before the fluid, the mobile, the self-impelled attrition of people's urban guerrilla warfare. With his techniques fully developed and established, the urban guerrilla launches his attacks on the corporate, military, police complex with some of these military objectives in mind. Let's listen to some of these objectives, shall we? to weaken the local guards or the security system of the dictatorship. Given the fact that we are attacking the guerrillas defending, which means catching the government in a defensive position with its troops immobilized in defense of the entire complex of national maintenance. Man, listen. To give proof of its combativeness, decision, firmness, determination, and persistence in the attack on the military dictatorship in order to permit all malcontents and follow our example and fight with the urban guerrilla tactics. To increase urban guerrilla disturbances gradually and endless ascendancy of unforeseen actions such that the government troops cannot leave the urban areas to pursue the guerrillas in the interior without running the risk of abandoning the cities and permitting rebellion to increase on the coast as well as the interior of the country. To oblige the army and the police with that the commands and their assistant to change their relative comforts and tranquility of their barracks and their usual rest for a state of alarm and growing tension is an expectation of an attack or such or parts of or in search for tracks that vanish without a trace. To avoid open battle and decisive combat with the government, limiting the struggle to brief and rapid attacks with lightning results. To assure for the urban guerrilla a maximum freedom of maneuver and of action without ever relinquishing the use of armed violence, remaining firmly oriented toward helping the beginning of rural guerrilla warfare and supporting the construction of the Revolutionary Army for National Liberation. Now, I want to go into a quick build since we're talking about the urban guerrilla warfare. Earlier, I was talking about the demonstrations and the protests and how it is a form of revolution only in its victory. I want y'all to understand that. Because you're protesting does not mean shit. Because your enemy don't understand protests. Your enemy don't give a fuck about protests. In fact, your enemy leads your protests. NFAC, Grandmaster Jay. Police leading your shit. Fuck out of here. So what is the proper protocol? What is the science of a demonstration? Why are demonstrations so necessary? All right, the demonstrations are necessary because it can create a diversion. It lets your enemy know of your awareness. Many things. But here's the thing. You niggas get into the protest and you weaken the ideology of the protest. You weaken the objective of the protest, which weakens the entire strategy of the protest. You niggas get out there, hands up, I can't breathe, don't shoot me, please stop killing us, please, 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 massa, please, sir, please, 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 fucking please, please, please. That's not a demonstration. That's a beg fest. That's a good nigga party. The outcome of your demonstration should have pressed a dent in the protocol of your enemy strategy. Your enemy should be going back to their headquarters, regrouping, re-strategizing, but they don't. They go home, have sex with their dog, rape their kids, just be normal pedophiles and molesters like they are. But here you are. White bitch get hit by a bus, yo nigga ass crying and snotting and want to go to the funeral, and you're giving donations to the family and bless the family, and shut the fuck up. Those are not actions of revolutionaries. Those are actions of backdoor integrationists. Those are actions of fucking homosexuals, tranny loving, so-called revolutionary niggas. Counter-revolutionaries. Because revolutionaries pray that bitch get hit by another bus on the way to the hospital. We pray the ambulance catch on fire. How about you? You gotta be even more heartless than this heartless ass cracker if you want to win this war. There can be no weakness. There can be no love and affection for you. Because the moment you still see your enemy as a human being, you lost. You lost. I don't see none of my enemies as human beings. Every one of them motherfuckers die. Yes, little Becky and Billy too. May your ass get hit in the head with a brick. Can you imagine Nat Turner getting ready to run up in the house, and he starts slaughtering throats, and he see the little baby in the crib, and he just have a heart for the little devil all of a sudden? Do you think Nat Turner did that? Listen, I'm gonna go on a little build about the demonstration and the importance of demonstration, because you niggas are doing it wrong. Completely wrong. And don't tell me you're doing it right. You're a goddamn lie, because there's no victory in your damn demonstrations. Ain't no crackers getting hurt. Ain't no crackers getting sent to jail. Ain't no crackers getting dragged by fucking trucks driven by revolutionaries. To demonstrate is to make demands with certain preset limits. In other words, when one pickets against a particular law or condition which exists in the country, he is following along lines which most governments tolerate. In turn, when the people of a particular district, country, state, or even country that decide that they want to picket their government or a particular issue or cause, they are actually striking against their governing force. How do demonstrations and strikes fit into the concepts of urban warfare? Well, let us realize that it takes the concerted effort of the people to make a strike successful. It takes the united effort, the power and devotion to their cause to make the strike successful. So when people gather to demonstrate for an idea or cause, as stated, they will usually be tolerated by the government authority as long as the demonstration is not held in a place directly associated with the particular problem. But when the demonstration is in the same area, then the state authority will show itself in a different way. For example, a demonstration in New York City held in support of the stop will receive the usual amount of pigs coverage in proportion to the number of people. But let that same demonstration be held in Washington, D.C., or the railroad of Oakland, California, where many U.S. Army troops train, pass through, and you will see not only the local police units, but in action also the state police, the National Guard, and whatever other federal government agencies they decide they're going to use. Now, the same holds true for strikes by employees or pickets from the people protesting against a particular store, business, or whatever have you. There have been cases where people have been dissatisfied with their living conditions and in turn appealed into the tenant's building in question not to pay any rent until the particular condition was correct. The landlord would take the case to court, and in due time, the wheels of the corrupt justice would settle the case without the tenants probably worse off than they started with the complaint. But if the tenants would have taken their complaint down the landlord's office and set up a picket line at the landlord's office, plus a series of demonstrations in front of his office, the results would have been certainly different. So you would have to be rival's front yard if you want victorious results. Another case of this is where the students of Columbia University in New York decided that in order to change the policies of that university, they would have to attack the school by somehow holding something in their bargain when the power of the school was brought down on them. The students realized that to petition the school would have been a useless and senseless act of no consequence at all. So stop these fucking dumbass petitions. Crackers don't give a fuck about how many names you got on a piece of paper. These are motherfuckers that write, amend, and change laws. You think they give a damn about some 50 names on a piece of notebook paper? Come on now. Let's stop this shit. Now, where I was. So here was two of the large halls of the university, defending them, and they could now bring unfavorable publicity on the this university. Involved against the American people, or African people, pardon self, and even people of the world. So, and that's just words, they took over some shit. Okay? Instead of coming with some piece of notebook paper, they took over some shit in school. Boy, that sounds. Let me tell y'all a story. When I first came into the knowledge of self, taking it as serious. You know, a newborn, just waking up. A few years went by where now I'm taking it much more serious. So there was no African history in Trenton High School at this particular time. So we ended up, make a long story short, I could take you through all the hoopla and all that, but no, I'm not going to do that. Make a long story short, a group of brothers and myself, including myself, called African Riot, Revolutionary Intellectuals Oppressed But Thinking. Riot took charge of Trenton High School. We kidnapped the principal, held him in his office until we got 2 African history courses in Trenton Central High School. Now, this was back in the 80s. So I'm telling you this because you have to take charge. You got to take something from your enemy if you want something. And you got to hit his ass where it's going to hurt. You got to hit his ass where he will have no choice but to come to the bargaining table. So when you strategize your plan has to be thoroughly strategized. Stop just running out here on some counter-revolutionary, reactionary bullshit and start creating a plan. And I guarantee you, your plan will go a lot further than just reacting. Because within your plan, you can also recruit. See? And if you're not recruiting, then you don't have an army. If you don't have an army, how the fuck are you a general? Mathematics is so simple. It's simple as hell. Okay? It's very simple. So the science, even with the science of strikes and demonstrating, it has to be done in a revolutionary objective. It has to be done with a revolutionary mindset. It has to be done with revolutionary purpose. I don't know what the fuck you niggas out here marching for now. You just march for anything. March of dimes. March for the retards, and you just march for any goddamn thing. Well, how about you march your ass in this line and let's get some of this damn revolution popping? Y'all scared of that line, though. The killer cracker line. How many of y'all ready to stand in that goddamn line? Yeah, I didn't think so. And I got to talk to you this way because I know some cowards are listening. So I got to give the coward a little motivation. I got to uncoward his ass. But I know the rebels are listening too. So I got to give the rebels some motivation. It's something for everybody. You did? Well, that's my bill, God, on that particular degree. You have the floor.
I appreciate that, God. You don't know how hard it was to stay on mute over this motherfucker, okay? Oh, man. Dealing with this degree of warfare, you have to build up a psychology that has you in the mind frame and orientation of when and where and how to destroy your enemy at any given moment and any given time. Your family should have an African warfare psychology. And in order for you to have a African warfare psychology, you have to understand African warfare. You have to understand the psychology that is necessary to take your enemy's life. This will separate those who are for. You heard the guy. All you gotta do is bring out warfare. We're your enemy. All you have to do is bring up warfare. You will discover who's amongst you. How dare you open your fucking mouth against a street tribe who takes a new initiate through an initiation process in a space where they will take their own life before betraying their tribe. Where do you think that comes from?
Hey God, I gotta make a move.
What do you think they told? I got.
All right. I love you. I'll be black.
What was the conversation with the kamikaze pilot in Japan heading to Pearl Harbor? What is the conversation between the young Vietnamese that would strap a bomb to their chest to go blow up the GI? What is the conversation between the Catholic Irish and the Protestant Irish in Northern Ireland? Coincidentally, where or incidentally, where the improvised explosive device was used. You have to understand your enemy's warfare and your set ability to combat it. What are we teaching our children in that regard? How up a warfare psychology. They exist in an environment where 9 times out of 10 they will end up dead then to graduate high school, then to graduate middle school, to graduate college. They live in this environment. Where's their education on how to navigate that environment? So the first degree was dealing with how to identify an enemy. Where are we with teaching the responsibility of once that enemy is identified, the responsibility we have to its destruction? You're dealing with an enemy whose inclination is tuned by this phrase: shoot first, ask questions later. I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. These statements are evidence of a behavior in a society where they know the outcome of the situation. I was in fear for my life. That's all that needs to be said for target practice. Are we teaching our children about target practice? How to arm themselves instead of harming themselves? Are we in the mind frame of a warfare psychologist who teaches and prepares their children for warfare? This psychology of liberation, the only way that this actualizes from a determined idea or a good thought is through the destruction of all of our enemies. So the conversation about warfare, not even the thought, there's not even a thought taking place with anybody who doesn't look like us. By the way we interact and speak with one another is evidence of our connection to our destruction or our connection to our rise. Just listen to how we interact with one another. Listen to what is being conveyed and what isn't being conveyed. Do we look at each other with love? Do we even know what love is in this society? We have no love for one another. We have love for everything else in the world. Notice I didn't say anyone else in the world, anything else in the world. Because everything else in the world is dependent upon us, not looking at us and seeing the divine who we are. Everything else exists and is thriving and is taken care of generationally because we look at ourselves as divine, as worthy, as human. You can't tell me in one breath that you don't mean the same thing when referring to us that our enemy does when you call each other nigger. I don't care if it's with the ER or with the A or whatever the fuck it is. It means exactly the same thing. You can't love me, call me this. You can't love my brother or my sister. You can't love my children. You can't love my elders. You can't love our ancestors. There's no way. You aren't prepared for war if you don't see any worth and value in the war that's being waged against you. There's no value in that life that's associated with you. It means absolutely nothing. Enemy tells you that your life matters, and then you go outside with a picket sign. That's the detriment of thinking that the thing that's responsible for your detriment, devastation, and destruction can somehow have some kind of influence or impact positively on your existence. Your enemies are here to destroy you. Your enemies are here to hunt you down and eliminate you. This is their duty and responsibility. That's it. So your duty and responsibility is to train your children to identify your enemies and be able to eliminate them. To know what an enemy looks like, to know the enemy's behavior, how to conduct surveillance investigation on your enemy, how to do reconnaissance on your enemy. Your duty and responsibility is to train your children how to custody, interrogation, torture, and investigation. That's a duty and responsibility. I don't see that on anybody else's curriculum. I don't see that curriculum being promoted and pushed around. I don't see that kind of training regimen going on. 9 times more likely than anything else on the planet to be in police custody and you haven't prepared them. I've seen a bunch of them dumbass videos asking, "Are you free to go?" Are the same things that are responsible and are capitalizing off the death and destruction of African people daily. You're watching those fucking videos talking about know your rights. No matter how many times you hear, there's no rights that we can produce that they are bound to respect. We do have one right, the right to self-preservation. How do you defend that? How do you prove that? How can black lives truly matter? By eliminating your enemies. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a limb for a limb, and a life for a life. This is how you prove that your life matters, that you're willing to kill to protect it. This is how they know not to mess with any of your people. So this whole existence is predicated. This place is this place because wars took place for it to be. This exact place that you in, that you put your hand over your fucking heart and salute the flag, is its place because wars were fought and things died, casualties were taken in order for it to be this place. So you salute the fallen. You use words like comrade. You don uniforms. You put on battle dress and you ain't ready for no damn battle. Your enemy knows that, and your enemy capitalizes off of our inclination towards our own detriment and destruction. So you're defeated in your mind before anything ever manifests in physical form. This place, this space, this inclination towards surrender, this inclination towards martyrdom, this inclination towards defeat, devastation, and destruction, this inclination towards being desensitized to your death and devastation and destruction, to the celebration of it, to the promotion of it, all of it. We have a duty and responsibility to our ancestors, our elders, our peer group, our youth, and those yet to come, to fight our enemy to destruction, to fight our enemy to the end, to understand the psychology of our enemy, the psychology of ourselves, to train and lead our children to engage in warfare daily with our enemy on every level. For those who ain't got the heart to do it physically, where is it emotionally? Where is it spiritually? Where is your spiritual system and inclination towards the devastation and destruction of your enemy? So wherever you find it, in whatever walk that your family has guided you to, if it does not have a space for the destruction of our enemy, it's not for us. It is against us. If it has an inclusion in the space for your enemies to be amongst you, it is not for us. So having an understanding about the psychological detriment of our enemy, you wouldn't call them human. You wouldn't pet name them, Becky or Karen or Steve or Bob or whatever the fuck you call them. Because when it comes time to destroy them, you will hesitate. And in that hesitation, you will die. And we won't remember you. We'll remember those who stood, not kneeled. Remember those who marched on our enemies and took their lives. We will venerate them. We will honor them in the way that they should be honored. No death for a martyr. We don't support those who are anti-African life in no way, shape, or form, no matter who they are. It's time for our resurrection from this dead state that we're in to a living perpendicular. And we walk in a manner of dignity towards our objectives. And if our objectives is for liberation and sovereignty, we're going to have to shed some fucking blood to do it. And for those who don't have the heart to do or the mind to do, support the heart and mind of those who are capable and able to do so. And we ended here. We had 2 hours. For those who didn't get an opportunity to make a donation, ensure you make a donation for what you seen. Go back and check the archive so you can see the entire presentation. There were some other points here. You could do so via Cash App, knowledgebornallah, or paypal.me/Do Knowledge Radio. We're going to do some more of these in the future. Definitely doing a part 2 to this so we can get into some more degrees. We have opportunities. You could get together and destroy yourself. We can get together and free ourselves.